couple silly little questions for you guys. Hayley, when you were on set, I remember you posting photos, sleeping in the most random of places. What was that all about?
I was exhausted, and I had no bed, so I just used what I could. And I did what any woman in that situation needs to do. My favourite was falling asleep underneath the food table, because then I could just eat chocolate as I was asleep.
Was any food dropped on you?
Oh, I had popcorn in my hair during a scene. I had to fish it out. Yeah, I was a mess.
Wonderful. We saw that all the photos you guys post during production, the cast is so silly, so fun. Who's
what do you mean?
Nothing. Good. Next question. Who's the biggest joker or prankster on the cast?
Well, we're all pretty silly when we're not trying to be serious. Biggest prankster, I would say it's a toss-up between Clark, because he'll break into a rap every so often, Ian is very funny in his own little mischievous way. So those are the two.
Nice. Hayley, if she could, what advice would Agent Carter give to Agent May?
I don't think she needs to give Agent May any advice. I just think they need to find a bar and get really drunk together.
Which we're planning on doing tonight.
Oh yeah.
So you guys are hosting an after party? Is what I hear.
You're all invited.
Similarly, if Agent May could, what would she ask Agent Carter? Is there anything that she would go there for?
Maybe some fashion sense, because May pretty much dresses in black, upon black, and you know, Agent Carter started all of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I have a feeling that if they ever did meet up in a time warp situation, Agent May would bow down to Agent Carter. And then we would kick some ass.
That's a great segue. The last question I had was that it's really the title of this panel, stresses your kick-assity across the shows. Do you have favorite fight scenes? Because you've both destroyed people in the shows, and it's wonderful to watch.
My favourite was the diner fight scene, and my stunt coordinator was telling me, she was saying, your moves are kind of too sexy, they're too dancey, and
There's nothing too sexy.
I know, right? But she planted that image in my head, so I had Nicki Minaj's Anaconda in my head throughout the whole fight scene. So when you see me on screen, I'm saying it to myself.
Someone is totally going to make a video with that.
They have. It's on YouTube. It's called Agent Carter Don't Want None.
It's not an officially Momo-sponsored video. Thank you guys. Now, you guys are already lining up. More and more questions. First, we're going to start over here.
Hi, I'm Abby, and I'm like, my heart is like...
Ours are too. We love you. We love the fans. You guys are so awesome for being here.
So, we both have very different tactical fight styles. I have two questions, because I love them both. They're great. One, who's good and a bad between you? But more importantly, two, if you teamed up...
I'm not worthy.
And two, if you guys teamed up, who would you want to fight against?
Good question.
Well, to answer your first question, I really don't think Agent Carter and Agent May would ever fight each other, but if we did, it would just be for fun. You know, just to...
We probably burst into giggles and then go to the bar or something. Again.
But I don't know, Loki would be a...
Yeah, we love you. I second that.
We'll go over.
Hi, my name is Phoebe, and I was wondering, when are we going to get Agent Carter Season 2?
Myself included, in about 3 weeks from now. So, yeah, fingers crossed. But you will know at the same time that I
so quick and right before everybody finds out. So we're very excited, hopefully, and we hear you guys, and we hope ABC hears you guys. Next.
Hi, my name is Cassie. You guys have both filmed some really poignant scenes for Marvel, and I'm wondering if there's anyone in particular that really struck a chord with you.
Sorry.
If there was any really poignant scene that you filmed for Marvel that like just resonated with you.
Well, not to give any spoilers out, but I just recently did an episode where it went to the backstory for Agent May. That took a long time to find out why she's called the cavalry. I was dying to know. So for me, that definitely, especially scenes with Coulson and the reasons why they bonded in their friendship way back when, and how it changed her.
I think the top that girl. I think, you know, it has to be when Jarvis gives her the vial of blood. And she takes it onto the bridge and she says her goodbye to Cap so that she can move on in her life, although he will always be close to her heart.
Hi, I just want to say I love you both, especially now because I grew up with Mulan. I was wondering how you felt about the new live-action Mulan being made.
I'm very excited that Disney wants to take it one step further, and I certainly hope I get a phone call to at least be, you know, make a cameo or something. I really hope that they do it justice historically as well as everything else with it.
Alright, so first of all, thank you both for being here. You're both lovely.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh my God! Can we see her? Is there a way we can see her costume for the rest of the crowd? She's amazing.
On stage! On stage! Angie will be very proud.
So my question's actually for you, Hayley. So now that Angie and Peggy are living together, I feel like it's going to be a little hard. Hopefully, season 2, it's going to be harder for Peggy to keep her secret life from her, especially since Angie's one of her best friends. How do you see that relationship kind of working out if there is a season 2?
Well, that's what I think is wonderful about that relationship is that you have two females on screen who are not competing with each other, they're not talking about other guys all the time. It's what it should be. They love each other, they respect each other. And I think now that she knows, she's like, you know, English, I knew there was something about you. She's a smart cookie. And I think hopefully now Peggy will finally feel safe enough to be able to confide in someone, because I think that's what she was missing from season 1, is that girlfriend that she can really go to, and I think Angie's it.
Hey, just to kind of follow up on that answer, actually. So Peggy Carter is obviously one of the most amazing Marvel heroines, in my opinion. She's incredible, and it's great that we're all getting this TV show to see her. So she's kind of more out in the public, as opposed to just in the inner fandom. So could you just tell us what it means to you to play such a strong Marvel heroine?
Oh, great question. Well, it's a huge honor, and Peggy is someone that I aspire to be more like, and certainly the times when scenes were difficult to play, I would draw on the strength of the character and how well she's written to keep me going. So it's amazing opportunity to come out here and meet the fans, to see the positive impact that she's having on young girls and boys, and that she's someone who doesn't deny her femininity, but doesn't completely depend upon it. She uses her wit and her intelligence as well. Yeah, so those things.
I'm hoping I phrased this right. All right. On Agent Carter, there's a large theme of the glass ceiling, keeping people from being able to retain the places they earned in World War II. Whereas in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. time, some of the most powerful characters are Maria Hill, Black Widow, Mockingbird. Is there...
Hello?
Are there going to ever be like flashbacks or visions or stories on whether or not it's just a cream rises to the top situation, or was there actual work on like Director Carter's part to make sure there wasn't a glass shielding in place when S.H.I.E.L.D. was created?
I don't really understand the question. Do you mean, so do you know what he's saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mere fact that Agent Carter, being a woman in that time period, was the leader and one of the founders of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think that in itself says that a woman can be in charge, a woman can be able to break that glass ceiling, and I think she did. That character did pave the way for S.H.I.E.L.D. to offer equality, and it's based on your skills and your talents and your intelligence as opposed to your gender.
Hi, thanks for coming out, big fans of both of you. My question is actually for Hayley. I'm a huge fan of the show Black Mirror. Yours was the best, obviously.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could talk about how you got involved with that and how it was filming and working with Don Hall and Gleason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I saw the first season of Black Mirror on television, and I thought it was one of the most forward-thinking and intelligent pieces of writing that I'd seen in years. So I actually found the number, the name of the producer, and I called them up myself. And this is an example of if you want to be an actor and you want to be proactive, this was my kind of way of doing that. And I just said, I will be and play anything in the second season. So they were like, oh, okay, this is, we didn't even consider you, but now we will. And about a week later, I got the script for Be Right Back, and I read it, and I burst into tears. I thought it was beautiful. And then I spent 12 days filming it with Donal, and spent 12 days crying. But I was very proud of it, and I think it had a very exciting and forward-thinking message about technology and where we're at socially. So it was an honor to do it, and I would definitely work with Charlie Brooker again.
That's how you say it,
No, Donal Gleason. Yes, a bit like Donut.
Next, please.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm from Chicago, and Hayley Atwell, you are the feminist superhero of my dreams. Thank you for assisting. My question is for both of you. A lot of Agent Carter is based on the fact that she experiences a lot of sexism in the workplace and kind of just in the world around her, and that a lot has to do with the times. And I'm just wondering if both of you or either of you have experienced sexism in the workplace in real life, either in Hollywood or like other countries.
I think that's a rhetorical question.
Do you want to take it? Yeah, I mean, I think, the thing about when we're set in Agent Carter is that the sexism for modern day audiences is that much more obvious. And the sexism that's prevalent now is a lot more subtle and sophisticated. Therefore, we have to eke it out of the floorboards, and we have to expose it for what it is. And the more that people speak out about it, the more that we can fight against it and see it in the clear light of day.
Because I think it's going to be a forever problem in many ways, but at the same time, I think we've made incredible strides. And I really am honored and proud to be part of a universe, which is Marvel, that offers so many strong female role models. And like Hayley says, for the young women as well as for the women who want someone to look up to, Marvel really does offer up quite a lot of.
Hi, well, to actually kind of go off of that question, which other Marvel heroines would you two like to act with? So this is for both of you.
Scarlett Johansson. Just one of those kick-ass characters. Who do you
I agree. I think she's remarkable.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name's Maddie. I'm a theater major, so it's really interesting going back to the history of entertainment and seeing how roles for female have changed as time has gone on. But I was wondering if you had any thoughts about how far females still need to go, and if there are any like tropes that you would love to see kind of destroyed.
Yes, I mean plenty. I mean, first of all, equal pay in the workplace would be handy for a start.
Womanhood and being a woman, and I don't think that there is anything wrong with being feminine and yet being able to be seen as an equal. And I mean that's the beauty about being a woman, right? We can be soft and we can be hard.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Alex Docho from Wisconsin. Now, I remember in with Captain America Winter Soldier that he's been known out many times to do missions over the years. And I was wondering, maybe season 2 Agent Carter's Winter Soldier, maybe after how the commandos reformed, anything you can tell us?
Oh man, I wish I knew. I could just make it up right now. I mean, if there's anyone has any idea about what they want to say, I'll take it back to the writers' room and see what we can do about it. I'm sure, you know, obviously Marvel want to exceed the expectations of the fans and give them not only what they want, but something more that's going to excite them. So I'm sure, you know, Howard Stark will be there, Captain Commandos will be there, the relationship between her and Angie, and lots of other surprises.
Hayley, can we just get your Agent Carter fanfic? Can you just explain what that story? We've got time. Thank you. Next.
Hi, I just want to thank y'all both for being here. My name is Dee. I'm from Michigan. I say y'all a lot because my mom's Southern. First of all, I just wanted to thank Ming-Na Wen for voicing the quintessential female heroine in my life. She was such a formative character for me as a woman of color who was never traditionally feminine as a kid. So, thank you so much for that. My question is, how is it to transition from voicing a complete badass to playing a complete badass?
I love voicing Mulan. I love doing voiceover work in general because I can show up in my pajamas and not worry about how I look, what my hair is doing on the day, if I have a pimple on my face. And it's a wonderful kind of sandbox where you just use your imagination. I mean, majority of the time you don't even work with the other actors at all. So it's all about me. It's so great. Just kidding. But you know, on the other hand, getting the opportunity to play Agent Melinda May, which for me is one of my most favorite characters thus far, it's empowering, you know, because I wish I could be her. Because I'm naturally a klutz in real life, so it's wonderful to just put her suit of armor on and pretend that, you know, I can be all the things that she is. But thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Costume as well. Who's excited about Inhumans in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
How do you think Agent Carter would react to finding out that Bucky Barnes turned into the Winter Soldier?
I think she, let me see. I mean, I think that she really respects their friendship in the first Cap movie, and I think in one sense she'd be relieved that he's come back, but also be devastated about the kind of the state that he's in, and hope that somewhere deep inside his psyche he can return to the real man that he is.
So I was wondering if there was any specific part of your characters that you wish you could be, like, personality-wise.
I wish I could fly a plane. So that's one. I wish I could be as fearless as her. And in fact, there was, I know it's a story that I shouldn't tell, but there was an incident where I had to help out a girlfriend. And loaded problem, and I put on my Asian May. Because my girlfriend was crying her eyes out. She was so afraid, and I became Agent May for a moment. So I just love her fearlessness. I wish I could be that every day.
Yeah, fearlessness is a great one. I think I use Peggy's kind of courage to in my own life when I'm lacking in it. But I think the other thing is I would love to actually in real life be able to tame someone like Howard Stark. He's so naughty. And Dominic Cooper is a very, very naughty boy as well. So a true power.
Maybe we should tell Jeff Loeb that we should do like an Agent May spin-off, Rodent Killer. Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Alicia, and something that's not new in society and media today is the idea of the strong woman, and characters are often described, especially your two, Peggy and Melinda, are described as strong women, but you never hear that about men unless it's talking about physical strength. And I was just wondering if you two could describe your characters using a word other than strong, or many words other than strong, so any journalists here or watching on YouTube later could use those instead of strong when referring to you two.
How about take no shit?
I'm gonna flip it and say vulnerable. Because I think Peggy is, as every human being on the planet to some degree is, whether they have the facade of strength or not. And I think her vulnerability is her strength.
My name is Thomas, and Hayley, I saw you on Jimmy Kimmel recently, and you showed your hidden talent. I was if you could do it for everybody else.
What is it? Are you guys not bored of it yet?
There are children here. Is this safe?
What is it? Why did you do that?
I was an only child.
Next.
Hi, my name's Emma, and I was wondering who your favorite superhero was.
Oh, my cat.
Well, it used to be the Hulk, and it still is, because I just love when he turns into this big, angry green man that still keeps his pants on. I don't know how that works. I really don't. But it's amazing. But now, as everyone knows, it's Thor.
I imagine your superhero fanfic is slightly different than yours. Next question. I'm just saying. Next question.
Gotta love those arms, right? My name is Shanna, and first of all, thank you for being here, as everyone has said. I love what these shows both have done in that the strongest fighters in both of the shows are women. Like, you yourselves are the strongest fighters in each of the shows, which is really amazing. There's been a lot of great questions about feminism, so I'm just going to ask you, when you go to the bar later, what are you drinking?
Oh, dirty martini.
Tequila, baby, tequila.
Hello, I'm Brienne, and my friend Emily and I both love you so much. My question for Ming-Na Wen, would you be willing to reprise the role of Mulan in the new live action? And/or who would you like to see fill that armor?
Unless it's Mulan the later years. I mean, I know I look young for my age. But no, seriously, I really, I don't know, I don't have anyone in my mind as to who can play the part. I just hope she's Asian. That's because you're not Asian.
So many girls, teenage girls are on Instagram. My daughter is 13. Not only do they see you as a huge role model because of the strong characters you play, but the loyalty that they have to the people around them and the people that they have grown to love. And it's not only that, but it's also the way you carry yourselves, Hayley, as well. And what we see, it's like you're internally lit up. And I just wanted to tell you thank you and make sure that you know that everybody on Instagram, all of these legions of teenage girls wish they were here too. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Will. I do a podcast on the work of Joss Whedon, well co-hosted, and
Joss who?
And let me just say, we are jumping through hoops so we can cover Agent Carter because it's just so awesome. And the second I heard that the woman that I grew up watching Street Fighter a million times when I was a kid was playing Agent May, I just was over the roof. So my big question, and this is pretty much when you were approaching your roles, one of you, I mean Hayley, your role, I mean, it has a lot of comic backstory, while I mean yours is more of it's an original role created for the TV show. Do you think that it would have been easier do you think it's easier to do a role that's adapted or one that's original?
I guess there's pros and cons to both, because on the one hand, when it's a character that's created without a huge, I guess, weight of acting talk, but on the other hand, it's a weird world in which we live in as Marvel characters, where we don't know from week to week where that character is going to go at all. It's an absolute mystery, and you just have to play the moments. Yeah, it's kind of fun to see it evolve the way my character has, and I'll let you take it away as far as having a character with history.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing with our scripts, I would get them maybe the night or 2 nights before we filmed. So, although she was kind of adapted, the idea of Peggy was adapted, she is kind of an original character, because it was really thanks to the fans kind of speaking out after Captain America 1 that loved her, that wanted to see more of her. So I feel although she kind of existed, we're fleshing her out in a much more exciting way now and creating a much more rounded and vulnerable character. And I find it thrilling to get the scripts like the night before and find out that she's doing that tomorrow. And you go to bed early and you put your face mask on and you wake up and you embrace the day as she would. And I think it also stops you from overthinking too much about the part. It keeps you in the present moment so you can have fun with it.
And it's because of fans like you that we have a S.H.I.E.L.D. comic where Agent May show up. And we have an amazing story called Operation Sin, where Peggy Carter is just tearing it up. Both those books, you should check them out if you haven't already. Next.
Isn't it the coolest to be in a comic book?
Hi, my name is Carol. Both of you are amazing. Love you. My question was for Hayley. I've always really connected to Agent Carter. My husband's in the military, currently deployed, and I was just wondering if there's anything from your life that helped you sort of draw on for the pain of missing Cap, or if you're just that amazing of an actress.
I can't say that there was anything specific.
Not necessarily romantic.
Okay. I did think a lot about my own grandmother, who had this amazing ability to, she would sleep in her curlers, and she'd wake up in the morning and she would look immaculate even before she left the house to go and get a pint of milk. And I loved her elegance, and I loved her dignity and her integrity. And so I made sure that in the emotional, kind of the trying times of Peggy's life, that she was able to maintain that dignity that my grandmother had instilled in me from quite a young age.
Thanks.
I'm Aiden, Lockport, here in Illinois. The thing I gotta say first off is that every week on it to Shield. The thing I look most forward to is how May's gonna like screw somebody up this time, like how she's gonna mess somebody up.
Me too. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I'm an actor myself, and so I know you can't always like pick the scripts you're gonna get. And so, has there ever been like any projects where you didn't like how females were being portrayed, and like the female characters being portrayed in there, and like what did you do about that? Like, you know, would you talk to them, or like did you just like reject the project?
Oh, I've rejected many projects. In fact, I remember when I was in college and I was studying acting, and there was a company that came with a movie called The Majorettes. And basically, it was just all these girls that, you know, would take their clothes off, go in the shower and get killed, you know, make out in a car and then get killed. And so it was just one of those projects, and after speaking with these gentlemen about it, and realizing that the reason why they wrote a script like that is because they had very little respect for women. Even way back then, you know, for me it was just, I called my agent and said, no, I'm not interested. And I even told it to their faces that I wasn't interested. And they were like, okay, but here's the thing. They asked me at that point, they said, well, because I said, first of all, I'm not going to do any nude scenes. And second of all, I think your script sucks. And I'm sorry I'm here in this meeting. And they said, well, how do you think you're going to make it if you don't do any nude scenes? Sensibilities and your integrity, and that way, you know, I mean, you will always have to take a role every now and then to pay the bills. That's a given, but always try to at least walk away feeling good about your job.
The thing I was about to say at the end of that story is she spin kicked all of them at that story. Next one.
Hi, my name is Mandy. My question is for Hayley. I know that you are a huge fan of Disney and Disneyland in general, so I was just wondering what your favorite ride was.
Oh, I know it's kind of, it's a very young, innocent one, but I love the Peter Pan ride because it reminded me of my first time that I ever went to Disneyland when I was 6 years old with my father, and there was something about soaring over London and seeing it so tiny when you're so small yourself, I felt like I was finally kind of big enough to see what the world looked like from above, and it was just so magical.
Hello, I'm Marcos from Chicago, and this one is for Hayley. Can you tell us a bit about your experience on Ant-Man and working with Agent Reed?
No. I'm really sorry, but I would actually have to kill you. Sorry.
There are Marvel snipers, but you can't see them. They're here, so thank you for that question. Next one.
Hey, I'm Jordan and I'm from Michigan.
You look amazing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first I would like to say, Hayley, I'm taking a picture with you later, and I'm sorry I'm totally missing the opportunity to take a picture with you, Ming-Na. I wish I could, but no. Okay. So, I have two really short questions. The first one is, are you having any moments like when you're filming, like me, like where you see an actor that maybe you looked up to before and you're really excited to meet them in general?
Oh yes, all the time. And even with Ming-Na, I'm like, and I get very shy. Like, I remember meeting someone said, would you like to meet Meryl Streep? And I went, no, I can't. You did not meet Meryl Streep. I did. And it was kind of like
Okay, and second of all, I was just wondering when you were filming all the Captain America movies, did you have any idea that later you would go as far as to make all those TV shows?
no, not at all. I remember being on the red carpet for the first Avenger, and I was just about to go back to London to do a play where you spend 6 weeks in a rehearsal room, earning next to nothing, doing something that you love. It's like a labor of love, and I kind of let it go. I just thought it was a job, and so for years later, for Luis Diaz-Casito to call me up and be like, "I want to do a show." I was like, "Oh my God, yes!" So it's wonderful to revisit something, especially when the experience of making the first one was so positive for me, and I met some dear friends on it. It was just, it's such a pleasure to be able to revisit that family again.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thanks. Next question.
Hi, huge fan. It is a great honor to meet you both. My name's Jack. I have a question for both of you.
Hi, Jack.
I don't know if you two have seen the new Daredevil series yet.
It's on my DVR. I know. I can't wait to see it.
I wanted to know what your opinions are on the presence or lack thereof of disabled female or otherwise minority heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Just your general opinions on the presence or lack thereof of disabled female or otherwise minority heroes within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, I'm a minority, so I think, +1. Chloe is also, so +1. I don't know, I think most of Marvel characters, in a way, has disabilities, and it's sort of in the sense that they feel like they don't fit in. Like the storylines that we have about the Inhumans. It's about people with extraordinary powers but are ostracized or feared or misunderstood. And I think those are all handicaps and disabilities as well, and there is, I think those are symbolic meanings, and that's why they have these superpowers, or they become superhuman beings. It's our, I guess, in our world of fantasy and in the Marvel world, it is a way to say that no matter what your handicaps are, no matter what your disabilities are, everyone should have a chance to shine or have a chance to contribute to society. And I think that's the underlying humane, stories that go through all of the different characters.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have Daniel Sousa, who's obviously has a disability from the war, and the fact that he's not just kind of her contemporary, but also there are flashes in season 1 of a possible love interest between them, puts him in a different light, which I think is fantastic. And the fact that it's a female-led show, and we have a relationship between Angie and Peggy that is not based on the men in their lives. That there are two aspects where you're having a minority situation that's taking the center stage, and I think that's something that Marvel do, as Ming-Na was saying so fantastically well, is really wanting to reach out and wanting to encourage that kind of conversation. And I think by hopefully if season 2 gets renewed, we'll explore more of that.
Our next 2 Netflix shows are AKA Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, and they're going to be amazing. Next, please.
Hi, I'm Anna from Chicago. One of my
Came from a
5,000
far place.
One of my 5,000 favorite things about Agent Carter is that she's a superhero love interest, but she's not defined by that love interest. Not everything she does is attached to that. So I was wondering if there, aside from founding S.H.I.E.L.D., if there's anything specific you think Agent Carter might have done with her life moving through the 50s, 60s, 70s, or if there are any other superhero love interests you think should get their own miniseries or more things to do with their lives.
Well, I think what's great about the fact that it's set in 1946, the first season, is that there's a huge backdrop of drama in terms of socially what's going on, and then also in the 50s, also in the 60s, civil rights, women in the workplace, in the home. And I think as the season and as the series grows, we can explore those things. But I think Peggy's going to be at the forefront of all those issues. I think ultimately she's a humanitarian. She fights for the underdog, and she's not afraid to stand up for what she believes in. So she will have a very strong voice in all of those issues.
That sounds perfect.
Next, please.
Hi, I'm Tanner. I have 2 small questions, Hail Hacker.
Security. Wait, we can take him out. think with May it was Scotch. Yeah.
I think she would have something like an amaretto sour, something kind of ladylike, perhaps. Maybe a shot of absinthe, I don't know.
You know, a shot of absinthe. Thanks.
That's it. All right.
Next, please.
Get the hell out of here.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for being such amazing role models, not just to me, but for everyone in this room and everyone like the country and everything. So thank you, first of all. And second of all, does it feel comfortable when you guys play your roles? Because we all know you're amazing, strong women, like by yourselves, not just like your characters.
Does it feel comfortable?
Yeah. Does it feel like natural?
Not when you're wearing stockings, spanks, a harness, mind pack, slip, and a pencil skirt, and you're in heels, and you've got a wig on. I'll tell you, there was one, I was just saying this backstage, I had to get my license renewed at the DMV, and I only had half an hour to do it in, so I went as Peggy Carter. It's Peggy Carter's on my
If she ever gets pulled over, I told her the cops 9 times out of 10 will be a Marvel fan, and she'll be able to sail free.
Do you have experience with these cops on the road? Go for the next question.
Hi there, I just want to start off by saying I'm serving more as proxy for my wife who's a bit too starstruck. She's sitting right over there.
We can see you.
But the question is, with the upcoming Captain Marvel movie, which go Carol, and the return of Kamala TV show, which go Kamala, what future Marvel property with female-led hero would you like to see most? Besides Jessica Jones and all those that are already in development.
What do you guys think?
So we're going to pass the microphone around to every single person.
All of the above, all of them, all women to be having their own female-centered show. It's our time.
I love the Marvel male fans for supporting and loving the strong female. That says a lot about you guys. I'm a man who can love a woman that powerful. You're a real man. Just saying.
Next person.
Not you. I wasn't talking about you. What are you doing there anyway?
I have no idea. I'm getting paid for this, so it's great.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, you look beautiful.
Thank you so much. I was wondering, well, this question is for both of you. If you could see your characters on any sort of mission, undercover, tactical, or otherwise, what mission would you want to see them go on?
I mean, I loved when they put Agent May and Agent Coulson undercover, and I was in a silver dress. And I don't know if Anne Crowley is still here. There she is. Come on, Anne, stand up, please. For S.H.I.E.L.D. She was instrumental in putting me in that beautiful dress, and I would love to go undercover anytime for any mission, just so that I could wear something other than black, which she does also great. She is the most talented woman in dressing me in all sorts of black. I love going to my fittings because, oh, another black shirt. But yeah, she's incredible. I would love to just go undercover and well, wait, that sounded wrong.
I loved when Peggy had the blonde hair and she had the Veronica Lake look, and it was so elegant. So I guess that I like more of those, those opportunities to wear something that's different from her everyday kind of uniform. I love the all-in-one suit that she wore when she was with Jarvis down in the tunnels. I'd love to see her in a cat suit. That would be great fun. Just amazing costumes as possible. Gigi, my costume designer, even imported buttons from an antique shop in Paris for Peggy's suit. So the attention to detail in the costume design is absolutely unparalleled. It's extraordinary. So I just feel lucky to be in disguise with whatever Gigi comes up with.
Thanks. We've got around 10 minutes to go, so we're trying to get through these so we can get as many of you guys through as possible.
I would love to see you in the leather cat suit. Tonight, yeah. And you can hook her up in a leather cat suit. She put me in one.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Tumblr is going to be blowing up with that.
Okay, so with the 10 minutes, we're probably going to have enough time, honestly, for 2 from each side, so I'll adhere to that. Sorry.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Anne, and I had a question for Ming-Na, who's I think is just like the greatest character, female character on TV today. And you play an action hero, and your role is really physical. It's not just, you know, posing in action shots. At least on screen, it appears to be intensely physical. And yet, you're not 25 years old. I'm wondering if...
Really? You sure?
If you had...
No, I am 25 plus, many more, times 2.
So I'm wondering if you had to fight for that. Because when I see you on screen, it's like, you're my hero.
You mean, do I have to fight to be that physical? Or
Yes. It's not just that they call you a fighter, that you actually get screen time and you get to show your, you know, that the scene on the train where you just look at that character who's come in and you can see owns you and you just...
Well, it's, you know, I mean, I love doing the fight scenes, and it's weird because after I did Street Fighter years ago, I actually said to myself, I'm never going to do another action movie again. Never say never, because I love it now, and I think it is because I'm older now, and I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, partly because of this role, and partly because I want to kind of represent that it doesn't matter how old you are. It's really about taking care of yourself and having the confidence to flaunt whatever you have, because, you know, we all get older. So it's all about having fun and not allowing ageism to be an issue whatsoever.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm from Iowa. My question is for both of you. What advice do you have for your viewers, specifically young women, and like how to be like a strong, confident young person?
I think Peggy says it towards the end. She says, I know my value. I think sometimes we forget that we listen to people telling us that we're not worth something, and yet Peggy's someone who doesn't need other people to tell her what her worth is, and I think cultivating that self-respect and that self-worth is so important in becoming the person and the people that we're meant to be.
And, I mean, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and every day, whenever she gets down on herself about how she looks or comparing herself to others, I just always remind her to love yourself and be, you know, and just be proud of the person that you are, because you got it all. And that's a message that all young girls should really have in their heart. So it's just to love yourself.
If we do get Agent Carter Season 2, do you think that Angie may become an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, you know, she has her sights set on Broadway. So if I can recruit her, I probably will, but I think she'd be very dramatic. She'd fall over the place, burst into tears at any opportunity. So I don't know how good an agent she'd actually be, but I'll ask her.
First of all, get Ian on Twitter and join the rest of you guys, because he
does
has a lot of
have
powers, but that is one I do not have.
He does have powers.
That is awesome.
Hayley, I have a question for you.
you. Dominic Cooper or Chris Evans? Which one would you rather be with?
Well, it feels really incestuous because I both look at them like brothers. Oh, that's really, really hard. I'm gonna say, you know, Dominic and I've known for the last 10 years. We kind of came into this industry together at the same time, so he's like my brother. So I'm gonna take Chris.
I think I'm getting the sign that we gotta wrap it up.